Hello students, in this video I'm going to explain the next part, second part of the chapter Nutrition and Plants. So in this part I'm going to explain the next type of heterotrophic plant, that is insectivorous plants. So as the name suggests, insectivorous. Insectivorous term is made up of two words, that is insect and vorous. Vorous means eaters, means the plants that feed on insects. That plants are called insectivorous. Sometimes, in some cases, they can feed on some small animals as rats and frogs also. Students, these insectivorous plants are also called as carnivorous plants. Carnivorous word all of you knowing, the flesh eaters are called carnivorous. So here they trap insects or some other animals, small animals. That's why they are called carnivorous plants also. One more thing, they are green in color. They are having photosynthetic pigment, chlorophyll. They can make their own food also. Then what is the need of trapping insects? Actually, students, they grow in the soil which is deficient in nutrients, especially nitrogen. So, in order to take nitrogen, in order to fulfill the requirement of nitrogen, these plants trap insects or some other small animals to fulfill the requirement of nitrogen. Now, when they trap insects, then they secrete some digestive enzymes on them, and then they digest the nutrients from them, and then they take the digested proteins, means nitrogenous compounds, from the insects. So these plants have some special modifications, and they are having some attractive things also to attract insects towards them. Examples are Venus flytrap, bladderwort, sundew plants, pitcher plants, etc. See, two images I have given you. First one is of Venus flytrap and second one is of pitcher plant. So students, here I want to explain one of the example of insectivorous plants, that is pitcher plant. So as the name suggests, pitcher. Pitcher means something urn-like structure is there. So what happens in this plant? All of you knowing the structure of leaf, because you have studied this in sixth class. So the broad part of leaf, that is leaf lamina or leaf blade, this part of leaf get modified into pitcher or urn-like structure, hollow pitcher-like structure is there. And the leaf apex, means the tip or top part of the leaf, form a lid which can open and close the mouth of the pitcher. Inside the pitcher, some small hairs are present which are directed downwards. This pitcher and lid are so brightly colored, that's why insects get attracted towards them. And one more reason is there, that is the nectaries are also present inside the pitcher. So just in order to take that nectar, and because of bright color, insect get attracted towards the insectivorous plants, means pitcher, inside the pitcher. When insect get entered inside the pitcher, then some slippery substances are present inside the mouth of the pitcher. So insect falls in the pitcher and lid closes. Now the trapped insect get entangled in the hair and cannot come out. After some time, insect dies in the pitcher, and now the walls of the pitcher secrete some digestive enzymes which digest the protein present in the insect to take nitrogenous compound. And students, this is the main thing, nitrogenous compound, because proteins are present in the animal's body, and after the digestion of protein it converted into smaller nitrogenous compound as amino acid, etc. So these are the nitrogenous compound which are absorbed by pitcher plant. So this is all about pitcher plant. One more thing, students, I want to tell you that these plants, means insectivorous plants, are green plants. They can make their own food. Just they trap insect or other small animals in order to take nitrogen to fulfill the requirement of nitrogen. That's why insectivorous plants are called as partial heterotrophs. This is very important thing. You should keep this thing in your mind that insectivorous plants are called as partial heterotrophs because they trap insects just because of taking nitrogen, not for food. In India, insectivorous plants, mainly the pitcher plants, they are found in Meghalaya, in Khasi and Jaintia hills of Meghalaya. These insectivorous plants are found. Next type of heterotrophic plants are saprophytic plants. So as here also saprophyte word is made up of two words. Sapros means dead and decaying, rotting, and phyton means plants. Means in non-green plants, these plants are non-green. Non-green means chlorophyll is absent. When chlorophyll is absent, it means they cannot do photosynthesis and they cannot make their own food. So obviously they will depend on others for their food. So the non-green plants that grow on dead and decaying organic matter, such plants are called saprophytes. Students, these organic matter means dead and decaying organic matter may be dead and decaying plants or as well as animals also. So when they grow on dead and decaying animals or plants, means dead and decaying organic matter, they secrete some digestive juices on organic matter which act upon dead matter and convert them into soluble form which is absorbed by saprophytes. Some examples of saprophytic plants are mushroom or bread mold or so many other fungi. Some bacteria are also saprophytic in nature. See, two images are there. First one is of mushroom and second one is of bread mold. I think you all are familiar of both of them. Mushrooms, all of you knowing, and actually mushrooms are of so many types. Some are edible, the mushroom which we eat, that mushrooms are edible, but not all mushrooms are edible. And this is another one is bread mold, so I think all of you are familiar to this one also. Now, the saprophytic plants or the organisms having such type of nutrition in which they are taking nutrition from or they are taking food from dead and decaying organic matter, such type of nutrition is called saprotrophic nutrition, and the organisms are called saprotrophs. So you can find these saprophytic fungi on pickles or on shoes or leather items or clothes in rainy season. They spoil a lot of things during rainy season because that time season is warm and humid. So they grow in such type of season. Now, next type of heterotrophic plant is symbiotic plant. So when two different type of plants live in close association, means they live together and benefit each other, then these plants are called symbiotic plants, and their relationship is called symbiotic association or symbiotic relationship. The relationship between these two organisms when they are mutually benefited is called symbiosis, and the two partners involved in the symbiotic relationship, that two partners are called symbionts. So students, so many symbiotic relationships we can find in our daily life, as symbiotic relationship is present in our body also. In our intestine, one bacteria, E. coli bacteria is present, which also show symbiotic association with us. And but here we have to discuss the symbiotic relationship in the plants. So in plants also so many examples are there. So two main examples I want to give you. One is lichen. Lichen is the association of one alga and a fungus, and rhizobium and roots of leguminous plants. Leguminous plants means pulse plants. So see, two diagrams are there. These two diagrams are the of images of lichens. When you will go in higher classes, then you will study about types of lichens. So these two are the images of lichens. So students, I will explain this symbiotic relationship in the case of lichens. Lichens are the example of symbiotic relationship. Actually, it is the association of an alga and a fungus. Alga is the singular number of algae, and fungus is the singular number of fungi. So they both live together and mutually benefit each other. As you all know, fungus is achlorophyllous. Achlorophyllous means fungus. In fungus, chlorophyll is absent. So obviously, when chlorophyll is absent, it means it cannot do photosynthesis and it cannot make its food. But fungus has some root-like structure. Actually, students, it is not root, not the real root. It is just root-like structure, which is called haustoria, and it can penetrate its haustoria on the surface where it grows. Means wherever it will grow, it can penetrate its haustoria into the surface to draw or to drag out water and minerals from the surface. So where is alga? Alga are photosynthetic. They are having chlorophyll. They can do photosynthesis and make their own food. So both live together and help each other. Alga, it obtains water and minerals from the fungus, and fungus get food from alga. So your both partners are mutually benefited. This is the example of lichen. One more thing I want to tell you about lichens, that lichens are very good example of good indicator of SO2 pollution, sulfur dioxide pollution, and we get litmus dye from lichens. Now, next topic is, now your type of heterotrophic plants are finished. Now, next topic is how nutrients replenished in the soil. So students, all of you know that plants make food from photosynthesis, and they make glucose as a first food product, which is stored as starch in plants. So plant absorb a lot of nutrients from the soil. Most of the plants require a lot of nitrogen to make proteins. Means what happens, first glucose is formed, then glucose is stored as starch, and after that glucose sometimes it reacts with the nitrogen and form proteins. So plants need nitrogen to form proteins. As a result, the amount of nitrogen and other nutrients decreases in the soil. So in order to maintain the quantity, to maintain the amount of nutrients in the soil, farmers add fertilizers and manures in the soil. And these fertilizers, as I want to give some example, urea or NPK. NPK means rich in nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So these fertilizers or manures are rich in so many nutrients, especially nitrogen, potassium, calcium, and phosphorus. Now, leguminous plants, means the pulses plants, are rich in proteins. So here again one symbiotic association or symbiotic relationship comes here. In the roots of these leguminous plants, Rhizobium bacteria are present, which can fix atmospheric nitrogen. You all know that plenty of nitrogen, 78% of nitrogen is present in the atmosphere, but plants cannot take this nitrogen directly. So Rhizobium bacteria, what it do? Rhizobium bacteria is present in the roots of the leguminous plant, which can fix atmospheric nitrogen in the soil. Now that atmospheric nitrogen converted in the soluble form, and it can be taken by the plant to make protein. So here Rhizobium bacteria and leguminous plants show symbiotic relationship. Rhizobium bacteria provide nitrogen to leguminous plants, and in return roots of these plants provide food and shelter to Rhizobium bacteria. So this is a very good example of symbiotic relationship, and in this way nitrogen is restored in the soil. So see, two diagrams are there. First one is the root nodules of leguminous plants, and second one is showing that in root nodules Rhizobium bacteria is present, which is fixing atmospheric nitrogen and giving that nitrogen to the soil and to the plants. And plant is doing photosynthesis, and giving food to the Rhizobium bacteria. So this is all about your first chapter, nutrition and plants. I hope you all have understood every topic. So if you are having any query or any doubt or any question, then please do comments in the comment section, and I will come with my next video for the second chapter. Okay, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.